Sunday on June 30th, I attempted the Bob Marshall Traverse. Now, the Bob Marshall Traverse is, from my understanding, the hardest hike in the Adirondacks. It's 56 kilometers long. You tackle 14 high peaks, and you got a total of 14,000 feet of climbing. Now, I was supposed to start on Saturday, but we had some crazy rain, and there was crazy rain out in the Adirondacks too, so I pushed it to Sunday, Monday. So I got up at 4:30 in the morning. I'm gonna get right to it here. Got up at 4:30 in the morning, and I started hiking, and like right away I was just a little discouraged. Usually that's not like me. I usually embrace the suck, but yeah, there was just so much mud and water, and all the stones, all the rocks, everything was just so wet. Within 3-4 kilometers, I stood on a rock that was tilted quite a bit, like a big flat rock, and I slid about 6 feet right down into water that was right up to my hips. That was before I even got to the first high peak. So anyways, I got up to Big Slide, and I marched my way down, and then we hit up a bunch of high peaks all in a row, and these are all high peaks I haven't done yet, so I wasn't familiar with them. Like Lower Wolfjaw, Upper Wolfjaw, Armstrong, Gothic, Saddleback Basin, like they're all super technical mountains to climb, especially with a backpack that weighs 25 pounds or whatever it was. You know, I was planning on doing some overnight camping. So I did those mountains, and I get down and I do Mount Marcy, the tallest peak in the Adirondacks, and we did Tabletop. And it was getting pretty late in the day. I realized, like, crap, I still got some of the, like, 3 more high peaks to do, and they're pretty far away. And it was like, I think it was already like 4 or 5 o'clock. So I marched my way down the mountain, and I had like a flat part, but mind you, like, even though it's flat, it's so rocky. If you guys have ever been in the Adirondacks, like, these trails are technical, like, especially with a backpack, it's hard to run. You're doing like a fast, like, shuffle, more or less. So anyways, I get to the bottom of Algonquin, and this is probably one of the steepest climbs in the Adirondacks. It's going right up to the to like in between Iroquois and Algonquin. So I want you to picture this. It's getting dark. I think it was 8 o'clock at this point. I had basically about an hour to get to this summit and kind of like get that twilight, you know, like it was up on the mountains. I was like, I figured I'd get a little bit of sunlight just to hammer out the last 3 high peaks. And I'm climbing up this mountain, and it starts raining, and it's getting dark. And, you know, I put my headlamp on. I keep turning it on and off, because when it gets a little bit open, I could see. But then whenever it's like in the trees and the shaded areas, I couldn't see at all. So I'm marching up, and I know I'm getting myself in a sticky situation because it was nasty outside. But the only reason why I kept going is because I've done these mountains like so many times. The other mountains before I didn't do, like Gothics and Armstrong in them. I didn't do those mountains, but because I was familiar with these guys, I just said, you know what, I'm gonna go for it. So I get to the top of the mountain, and I'm like right in between Iroquois and Armstrong, and you know, I was really excited, but I realized like I was really tight with time. So I marched my way down over to Iroquois, and I get up to the top over there, and now it's like it's starting to get dark. You know, picture this: it's cloudy, it's raining. When my headlamp's on, it's like the steam is coming off my body because it's cool outside and I'm hot. So it's like I couldn't see 2 feet in front of me. And now I got to march my way back down and get up to the second tallest peak, is Algonquin. Algonquin is at 5,114 feet. And it's, like I said, the second tallest peak in the Adirondacks. And it's one big rock that's totally exposed. Like, there's no coverage. And yeah, you're out there, man. And I was on top of the world, but it was pitch black now. And it was raining, it was cold. My phone, so for me to navigate, I couldn't even use my phone because it was like raining so hard I couldn't friggin' swipe on my phone. I was using my watch to navigate. For whatever reason, my watch started going all loopy. Anyways, Franny messaged me on my Garmin InReach and just said, when you set up camp, let me know. And at this point, I was 13 high peaks in. I was like 50 kilometers into my hike. And I had one more high peak to go. So I managed to get my way down the mountain. And I got down the mountain and I called Franny and I'm like, you know what? I have to pull the plug on this. It's too dangerous. Because I knew at right, it's a big flat rock again. And it's just like, it's one of those things where it's like, if you can't see where you're going and it's raining and the rocks are slippery like that, it's pretty friggin' dangerous. So I was only like 1 mile away from like completing the whole thing. And I just made the right decision. I made the right call. And, you know, even though I didn't complete the biggest hike in the Adirondacks, I actually came out of this very fulfilled because I knew that I was able to make the right decision and like not let my pride get in the way. So I got down to the bottom of Algonquin and I found a place to camp. It's pouring rain. I set up my tent in the rain, so that was good experience, good practice. You know, I made my dehydrated meal, got the burner going, fired up some food, slept in. I slept really well because I was so exhausted. Slept until like 8-9 o'clock in the morning. Woke up and I had a 25 kilometer hike back to my van. I got another 6,000 feet of climbing. Now, at the end of the second day yesterday, I was fulfilled that I made the right call, but I was also like a little bummed too that I didn't finish the hike. And I'm hiking along. I had like maybe 8 kilometers left, and I swear to God, I can't make this up. I see this guy walking down the trail, and I thought he was in knee deep mud, and he's like walking like this. Well, he comes up over this friggin' hill, and he's got no legs. Like, I swear to God. And I just stopped and my jaw dropped. And like, basically he didn't have prosthetics. So like, it was like, I don't even know what you call them, but there was like little steel shafts. And then he had like hockey puck feet. But like, he was only like, whatever, 4 feet, like less than 4 feet. Like he was not like, he didn't have the full prosthetic leg. And he's hiking in this technical terrain. And I just looked at him like, holy shit, dude. I'm like, you're such an inspiration. And he told me that he hikes these high peaks with no legs. And I'm thinking to myself, like, man, I was bummed because I couldn't get my 14 high peaks and complete the Bob Marshall Traverse. But then I run into this guy that's got no legs and he's hiking through this absolute technical, muddy, rocky terrain. So I left that little situation there. I was, it got me pretty emotional because, you know, it's just like, it made me realize like, wow, like, you know, I'm fighting my own battles, but then there's other people fighting way worse battles. So it was a crazy weekend. And like every other weekend, whenever I put myself through that kind of hard work, I come back super grateful. And, you know, it's like you just appreciate everything so much more. You know, I come back, I hug Franny that much harder. I enjoy my bed so much more. Food is unreal. Like, it's just like, I totally enjoy these adventures, man, because you come back a different person. So that was it, Bob Marshall Traverse. I ended up getting it said on my watch 16,000 feet of climbing, 13 high peaks I did, and I did 51 kilometers. It was a big day for sure. Thanks for following along, and thanks for checking in on me too. I had a lot of people message me and making sure I was still alive after this big adventure. What's up? So this weekend I'm going to be going back to the Adirondacks and I'm going to rip the Bob Marshall Traverse. Now the Bob Marshall Traverse hits up a lot of the high peaks. It's from what I was told, one of the biggest hikes in the Adirondacks, toughest too. It's 50 kilometers long one way and 14,000 feet of climbing. So most people only do it like the one way, point A to point B. But because I'm by myself and I got to camp out, I'm going to be doing an out and back. So I don't know on day 2 if I'll be hitting up all the high peaks, like doing the full traverse there, but I definitely will be doing a big day. It'll still be probably a 40-kilometer day. It's gonna be a good weekend, super tough weekend. So I just wanted to show you guys the nutrition that I'm gonna be taking along. So my goal for this trip is I'm gonna take about 4,000 calories. I'm doing nuts and dates. I'm doing cookies and some candy, protein bars, real food bars, pro bars, and 1 dehydrated meal a night, and 2 elements. So these real food bars and pro bars, like I'm taking some really high dense calorie bars here. They're like 400 calories. First time taking cookies out, I bought these maple cookies and I realized they're so fucking high in calories too. Like they're 110 calories per cookie. So yeah, definitely it's gonna be new to me, but I'm sure they're gonna be fine. Luckily I don't have too many issues out on the trails whenever it comes to nutrition, except for like straw. I have a maybe an allergy issue or something with red dye. So like if I have like a red Gatorade, then I get heartburn from that. So that's the only thing I usually have issues with. But again, it's one of those things where you just have to go out and fuck up and experience those shitty times where you'll know, you won't do that again, you know, so. Okay, we're just in the van, got to the starting point of this adventure. I'm going to sleep in the van tonight, and yeah, we're gonna get up super early, like 3:30, and get after it tomorrow. It's gonna be a long day, and then we'll see how we do there, see where we camp out tomorrow, and we'll do it all over again the next day. It's 4 a.m. Going to get an early start. Didn't sleep the best last night, but got a couple hours. Yeah, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be a long day. Okay, we hiked 4K and now we're on the trailhead, and looks like we got a beautiful day. I'm so happy I pushed this adventure a day, because yesterday it was just a shit show with rain. So yeah, we're just at the trailhead now. It's kind of cool. It's all one big flat rock. Well, I just had my first minor accident, I guess you could say. I was walking on a flat rock that had some moss or whatever, some slimy stuff, and took a tumble. Thank God it wasn't a long fall, but it was like I slid about 6 feet and then right into the running water. So it's all good. Woke me up. I was a little tired anyway, so everything happens for a reason, I guess. Well, we're up in the clouds. We just hit Big Slide. Check this out. So it looks like I'm gonna be ripping all the mountains over there. Gonna be a good day. Might be in the clouds all day though. So we just came all the way from there, Big Slide Mountain. We just made it to Lower Wolfjaw Mountain. Now we're heading that way. We are at Upper Wolfjaw Mountain. So we just came from that peak, we came from that peak, came from some peaks down there. Yeah, man, it's been a big day. It's I don't know, I feel like it's not my best day. Just kind of woke up tired this morning, but you know, the thing is, when it comes time to do the Bruce Trail, I'm gonna be having days where I'm tired and I don't feel like doing it. So
It's you know, you have good days and you have bad days, but it's all about pushing through. That's what it's all about. All right, we just left Armstrong Mountain. Yeah, today's a grind. We're on top of Gothic, another high peak that I haven't done. All right, we're just about to hit Saddleback Mountain. Check this out. Mount Haystack, that's where we're going next. And then over there is Mount Marcy. And then we're gonna be doing Algonquin Iroquois on right. Then all the way down to the Adirondack Lodge. Okay, I'll make this quick there before I take off to do Mount Marcy. Yeah, I just finished Haystack. Super windy right now. Very windy. Yeah, the course is a hell of a lot harder than I thought it was gonna be. I mean, it's not really a surprise. The Adirondacks are tough, man. And it poured rained all last night, like the whole fucking night. So everything was super wet, and going down some of these mountains, like I actually slid twice there. One was like, it wasn't good, man. It was like I slid down like 10 feet. Well, thankfully I stopped myself. That like just like I hit ground there and it was flat. But and then the other time was earlier on this morning where I slid like maybe 4 feet, 6 feet into some 2 feet of water. I started off a little, I don't know, a little discouraged this morning, I guess. I was just tired. Didn't sleep last night, and then you know, it's kind of like windy and gray, and I don't know, it was weird. Usually I love this shit, but kind of started off with like some bad feels. But again, man, it's like the beautiful thing about this sport is not giving up, and then when you're done, it's like it's a pretty rewarding feeling whenever you push through something where you know, you didn't want to. Okay, before it gets all windy, that's the mountain I'm gonna be climbing right there, Mount Marcy. Going to try my best to get to the top of the last 3 high peaks while it's still sunny out, but something tells me I might be putting my headlamp on for those. But it's beautiful.